Welcome to the Just Jim Radio Show. So grateful to be here with you and glad you're here with me. We're here on the Just Jim Radio Show to offer inspiration, information, ideas, concepts, encouragement, support, a little bit of fun. Fun's always good to make a difference, help you see things maybe in your life, in the world, live better, more fulfilling, with more freedom. Whatever it is that maybe you're looking for as far as answers to questions that might come up for you and how you live your life or how you want things to be. And gosh, it's an important time of the year for that at this point. We do that during the show with discussions, interviews, different ways of offering that expression. And today it's going to be a discussion. Today we're going to talk about something that is coming up on us way quicker than we thought it would, and it invokes a lot of thought for each of us to be able to look at ourselves and our lives differently. The title today is A New Year, A New World. Well, you probably expected a new year, and once I said a new world, it made some sense because of what's been going on and what will be going on as this new year begins. It's a pretty bold statement to make, though. A new world. So I'll ask you a couple of more questions. What do you want your world to be in 2021? Boy, you could spend the rest of the day thinking about that, couldn't you? How about this one? How do you want the world to be in 2021? Hold it a minute. You said your world, the world. What I'm saying is that we all have our own little world. Some of us have bigger worlds and some of us have smaller worlds. It just depends on how we choose to live. But your world is your life and the way that you experience it and what you want in it or what you want to be in it. And then your world is in the world as we know it. Your expression of your life makes the world what it is. And so as we're going through this discussion, keep those questions in mind because we all know it starts at home, so what do you want in your world? And then as you kind of extend your awareness or maybe your consciousness out into the world, what do you want the world to be? Do you want it to be a reflection of you and how you're living your life? Or maybe you see in the world things that you want to have in your life. And maybe it's like, oh, I'd like to have more of that. Or I wish I could have that. All of these things are key to the dance that we're constantly experiencing with life as life. Because we're the ones that are the creators of life as we know it. We are the ones that bring meaning to life. So what does that mean at this time of the year, this last week of 2020, moving into 2021? Well, lists will be made. Resolutions will be created. Have you heard this before? And from an inspirational point of view, intentions will be looked into and established. All of these words, resolutions, intentions, lists, they all pertain to this dance of our spirit as a spiritual experience as a human being. We are both what we are within and we are what we are in the world. And so they all relate to one another in some way, shape, or form, and we are the ones that determine the relationship. We are the ones that determine where our purpose that rises up from within us someplace, whether you call it your soul or your heart or your mind, it doesn't matter. And then what we're going to be passionate about and bring that fire of who we are to do two different things. Fire does two things. It cleanses and clears and burns up things. It transmutes things that aren't needed or wanted or don't serve anymore. But it also, fire is the fuel that can carry us forward different than we have before. It can illuminate the pathway before us and have us see more clearly. So as we're moving through trying to answer some of these questions, of what we want in our world and the world, let's make sure that we're taking the time to, as we're looking, what invokes passion within us? And what can we feel from deep within really matters? This is our purpose. And we can begin to shape and mold the way that we move into this new year differently than we have before. We certainly want this new year to have a different set of circumstances, a different set of situations than we've had to deal with in 2020. And yet, no matter what they are, we're the ones that determine the way that's going to unfold, at least within us in our own personal experience, and then as a reflection of that in the world. So the lists will grow. Most frequently found on lists, if you want some statistical information, is diet, exercise, relationships, fulfilling purpose, which means I want to do more that makes me happy, or I want to do more that serves or helps others, or I want to do more that makes a difference in my life or in the world. All these ideas of things that we want to do or make happen or achieve or accomplish or put into motion at least are really centered around something more than them. That's the whole idea of the talk here, this discussion, is acknowledging the fact that we are here and we are deeper than the circumstances and situations that we're experiencing or that we've drawn to ourselves to experience ourselves through. So as we're making these decisions for the new year, let's be careful how we do that. I mean, come on, as a society, we've created a calendar, haven't we? I mean, it didn't exist at some point in time. None of us remember that. But I mean, our whole society, our whole mankind, our whole earthly experience has decided that this is the calendar we're going to follow. These are the cycles we're going to be in. So let's take advantage of that. Sure, every day we have a choice to make a difference. Every day we can choose to let something go and to start something new. We can find renewal in each breath if we choose to. And yet we're accustomed to following these cycles of weeks and months, and now a new decade in this century. It's something that we are experiencing together on a universal level, and so as each of us are doing it, all of us are doing it, and that momentum, that movement can really make a difference. It brings to my mind the idea of where two or more are joined, and we are. We are. What are we going to make of it? Well, you've heard you create your life by how you think. Marianne Williamson says you must learn a new way to think before you can master a new way to be. That thoughts are the vehicle we are able to use to direct our attention and our beliefs and understandings in the practical world that carries the inspiration of our purpose and our passion into our expression and therefore our experience for ourselves and with each other. And so it starts with beginning to bring focus to what we know matters, and that invokes how we choose to be. And more importantly for me, in this past year, the idea of becoming is beyond being. So if you're thinking your way into being, you arrive as your being in any one moment, but the continuing unfoldment of your being is your becoming. And that's what the new year can be if we choose to take the time to look more carefully at how we choose to think, feel, choose, act, interact, and create our lives. So as you're making your way into 2021, we can certainly find ways to do what's necessary before we can create something else. Not just choose, not just think, not just decide, most of us have created a life that's fairly full. Even in the solitude and isolation of 2020, we've kind of filled that space that we're occupying with something. Some of us are creating all kinds of cycles of thought. Sometimes we're doing things to occupy ourselves. Sometimes we're just losing it a little bit more than we used to. But it's occupying that space in our consciousness and in our lives that creates room for something else. So although we had all these things happening and seemed like many of them happening to us, what control do we have over the politics except for voting, or over a disease that's affecting the whole world? Well, we have to go back to that point of origin of ourselves and begin by beginning to let go of as much as choose something else. So my life, fairly full. There's been some changes for me recently that have created quite a bit of space. And now I'm working on saying, oh no, I don't want whatever's been going on or whatever I've been doing or how it's been or how I think to collapse into the space that's been created by this change that's happened in my life. I want to proactively create. I want to proactively show up in my life by looking carefully at the space that's been created by these changes and what I want in them. And so I've begun to take the time to look at what is in my life. And so as I look at what's in my life, I can kind of look at the different pieces of the puzzle and see which ones of those are bringing me fulfillment. Which of those do I feel most comfortable with? Which of those would I like to be something else or enhanced or have more expression in? I'm very fortunate to have opportunities to be able to express my purpose and passion. I every day create other ways to do that. Just Jim, this show is a way I get to share who I am, fulfill my purpose. And I got to tell you, when I'm doing it, I'm on fire within with my passion because it's something I really, really enjoy and get a lot out of. So me being Just Jim and doing this show is a great example of me having in my life how things can be the way I really want them to be in 2021. And in a way that I can look at how things can be better. I was just having a discussion just a few minutes ago with my producer, Kate, and we were talking about, okay, how can we make Just Jim even better in 2021? And so we're going to sit down and look at some different ways we can have you experience Just Jim differently so that whatever I'm sharing, you're able to experience it with a better quality, a quality of life that maybe the way it's produced and the way it's brought to you just has what I bring feel a little bit better or more inspirational or more encouraging. It's hard to say. I'm sure Kate and I will figure that out as we make our way. But it's more important that you get beyond whatever it is you're choosing of things or things to do or express in your life. What I mean by that is, what does it mean to you? What is behind what it is that you're choosing to express or create or manifest, whatever you're resolving to make different in your life? What's the reason behind it? Because if you don't have the reason and you don't know how it plays a role that's important to you, and you aren't able to invoke passion into it, it'll be another one of those resolutions that you pick